Hi everyone, in this lesson I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to take your repeat pattern tile and apply it to a fashion piece from a magazine. What that means is that we can get a little bit of a mock-up of how our design could look printed onto fashion pieces. So here is an example. What I need you to do is to go ahead and open your repeat pattern tile in Photoshop. Now, before we start, I just want you to double click the layer to unlock it and give it a name in the layers panel. And this is where you want to have it highlighted. And if you haven't already, make some adjustments. So you can go to image adjustments and do brightness, contrast, levels, exposure, any of these ones. I'm going to go ahead with contrast and make this little white dial go a little to the middle and the black as well. I really want those colors to pop a little bit on this design of Jasmine's. You could even put the hue saturation up a little. So just have a play here before you move on. If you haven't done this already, I might play with the brightness and contrast. Now you can see all the edits are happening in your layers panel. Before we move on, I want you to click and then hold shift, highlight every single layer. Then right click and click merge layers. Just make sure you double click on the title, call it what you want, pattern flower, and click on it, make sure it's highlighted before we move on. Okay, we're ready now to create a pattern from this. So this allows us to use the fill bucket just like a normal swatch. So what I want to go and do is go up to filter, scroll down. Oh, actually, before we do that, we want to go to image and click canvas size. So here, your canvas size, width and height should be a perfect square. Write these numbers down. 309.39 is the canvas size for this image. Click OK. Now we can go to make sure our layer is highlighted. Let's go to filter, scroll down to other and click offset. What happens here is the computer comes up with a number 157 and moves our image 157 pixels right and 157 pixels down. That might not be the correct number. So go ahead, pull out your calculator. Whatever the canvas size number was, which was 309.39, divide that by 2. The number I get is 154.7. So let's round that up. It should be 155 to be perfectly half by 155. Okay, then we can click OK. Once we have done that, we're going to go to Edit, scroll down, Define Pattern, and then give it a name. So this could be black flower. Click OK. Now I want you to go and download these images that you will find on Sector. You'll have a whole lot of fashion figure images. I want you to open one to start with in Photoshop. So I've got one here, and you'll see the actual design of the fashion piece should be invisible, transparent. Okay, once you've done that, I want you to go over to your layers panel and let's just create a new layer. So click on this little icon here. You'll create a new layer. You can see it hovering there. Let's double click and call this pattern. I want you to click on that pattern layer and bring it underneath layer 1. So I can see layer 1 is my fashion figure. Let's turn that fashion figure off so it's invisible. And now I've got my blank canvas. Once we've got our blank canvas, we want to go to Edit, Fill, and then use this toggle to click Pattern. So what you'll see here are the pattern that you just created. So click on that one and click OK. You will see it fill the canvas. Now let's go ahead and put the visibility of our fashion figure back on, and that looks pretty cool. It's a really fun print on our fashion figure. You might not be happy with the scale. You might want to make the flower pattern either bigger or smaller. So to do that, I want you to turn off our layers, create a new layer. I can see it's called layer 2. Double click on that. Let's call it something else. Pattern small. I'm going to make the scale of this small. Okay, and then what we're going to do is go up to layer, scroll down, new fill layer, click on pattern, and pattern fill 1, let's click OK. You will be able to click down here and see a whole bunch of patterns and the one you've just defined. Let's adjust the scale. So I want this to be 50%, so it's much smaller. You could even go as low as 25. That might look cool. Let's click OK. I can turn my image back on and you can now see what it looks like in different scales. So I've got my small pattern, turn that off. I've got my larger print pattern. I can turn that on. So once you have got a scale and a pattern that you like on your fashion figure, I want you to go to File. Let's see, we're going to go Save As. And you can click JPEG for this one. Let's call this fashion figure flower print underscore your name and click save. You can make the quality maximum and click OK. So if you wanted, for example, to save the image with the really large pattern, then you turn off the small one and make sure the large one is visible. So I want you to go ahead and apply your pattern to at least 3 different fashion figures and experiment with the scale and also editing your pattern in terms of the different adjustments.